Thank you for tuning into the Tom Leykis Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No. I am your host. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You're going to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. We do appreciate it. Now, we asked you on the air, and this question was primarily for men, of course, the woman you're with, if through some surgical error or worse, due to breast cancer, if she lost her breasts, would you stay with your wife, your girlfriend, whoever? More than half of the guys who called in said they would leave. Now, I'm sure that it's true for all of them that they'd stay the requisite amount of time, stand around with the relatives, boo-hoo-hoo, stay home from work a week or two, or feed them soup or whatever and say all the right things. But, time would pass, and after a while, a lot of these guys would just simply bolt. During the course of that hour, one person mentioned an even more serious situation. And we've decided that this hour we're going to ask about this one. And I'd be willing to bet that there's more than one listener out there who has been through this. In fact, I'd be willing to bet this situation is more common than a woman losing her breast by accident because the hospital made a mistake. I'll bet this is real common, and I'll bet it's something that people don't talk about very often. It's terrible, horrible, and the people who commit this crime belong in prison forever and ever and ever. So don't get me wrong. I don't take it lightly. But I do like to get to the truth. And so here's my question. Now let's move away from breast cancer and surgical error. Let's move on to a criminal question. Your wife or girlfriend is horribly, tragically raped. We all know, to at least some extent, if we can't speculate, how women would react in a situation like this. You've at least seen the scenario on television. Somebody in my family, a cousin, was raped on the New York City subway system. So I have familiarity with this. And because it happened to my own family, I do have an amount of sensitivity to this. I know what this does to the personality of an individual. So it is not just a matter that somebody else had your girl, because it's certainly not something she would have chosen. Not at all. But it is also a matter that even if you try to do the right thing, even if you're horrified and terrorized and disgusted by the act of a strange man raping the woman you love, even if you stay and say nice things and do nice things, what happens to that person? This is the reality of the situation, okay? Even if you want to do the right thing, the other person may get horribly depressed, angry. They sometimes recede into themselves, don't want to talk anymore, don't want to talk much, don't want to be sexual anymore. I mean, there's a bunch of effects that it has. And again, I'm speaking because I know somebody in my own family who was raped. I know what it did to her personality. I know what it can do to a person. And I'm not laughing about this. I take it very seriously. But as I always say on this show, I want to get to the truth. I want to know how people really feel. And we take advantage of that cloak of anonymity you have. When you call in here, nobody knows for sure if you're using a real name or making up a city where you're calling from. We don't know for sure who you are. The person you are with may not know that you're calling in. In fact, the odds that they're listening, probably slim. And even then, they can't prove it was you. So there's two things I want to do this hour. One is, I want to ask you this question. Forget last hour. The woman you love, wife, live-in girlfriend, whatever, is raped. Would you stay? And I don't mean would you stay for a week or a month or until the heat is off. I mean, would you stay? Yay, 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 yay. You know what I'm saying? And also, this hour, I will talk to anyone who's been through this. Men and the women they are with. Or the women they were with. I want to find out. I know that's got to be one of the hardest things anybody could ever face. Ever. I'll bet it's harder than facing the fact that your spouse or your girlfriend is murdered. I mean, having to deal with the trauma, the flashbacks. I imagine something like post-traumatic stress disorder would kick in there. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I think it would take a giant of a person to be able to do that with grace. And frankly, I don't think most men would want to handle that. Forget about whether they could or couldn't. I don't think most men would. Because it starts with this idea that your girl was, and I know this is wrong, but it's a visceral reaction that men would have. It starts with the idea that your girl was with some other man. She didn't want to be with him. She tried to get away. She screamed, whatever. But bottom line is, somebody else dipped into the candy jar. And I think there's a lot of guys who would hate to admit that that alone would be bad enough. But if you got over that, then you have to also live with whatever issue she has. Would you love anybody that much? You'd have to love them a lot. If your girl was raped, would you stay? Would you stay for good? Or would you get out?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
I don't think women understand how important fellatio is to most men. I don't think they get it.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. All right. The woman you're with is raped. Would you stay? Sam on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Sam.
How you doing, buddy?
Do you care?
Yeah, of course.
I'm doing great.
Hey, I had a situation about a year and a half ago. I had my sister, or my girlfriend got raped by her brother.
Your girlfriend got raped by her brother. That's terrible.
Yeah, and get this, it's a Catholic family.
Oh, boy. Well.
And she gets pregnant by her brother.
Oh, sounds like the Jerry Springer Show.
Yeah, tell me about it. I was only dating her for, God, it must have been about a month and a half. Turn around and find out she was raped by her brother. Find out she's pregnant, and she won't give it up. She will not get an abortion.
Wow, wow, wow.
Tommy, I was gone.
I imagine you were. She wouldn't have an abortion, so she wanted you to stay through all of this.
Yeah, she wanted me to raise the kid.
Unbelievable. So the kid would be her son and her nephew.
Yeah.
Both.
No way, dude.
Wow, wow, wow.
Talk about leaving a bad taste in your mouth.
Unbelievable. So you got out.
Yeah,
and she wanted you to stay. And how was she after this happened? I mean, getting away from having the child and wanting to have the kid, I mean, what was it like being with her for the time you were there?
She didn't tell me for 2 weeks.
So you were, like, still living with her, having sex with her and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And had anything changed during that 2 weeks?
No, the way I found out, she started getting sick, and I asked her what was wrong. And she started crying and telling me, oh, I think I'm pregnant. And I'm like, well, you ain't pregnant for me, hon, because I've been using rubbers, I've been all sorts of things. And she said, no, I think it's for my brother. He raped me.
Wow.
Bitch.
Wow, so you got out of there.
I was gone in a heartbeat, Tom. There was just no way I could do it with someone who's been raped. But that brings up another...
So it wouldn't matter if their brother raped them or the stranger raped them. It wouldn't matter to you.
No. I can't do it, Tom, because, I mean, what, you end up with a girl who wants to keep a baby like that. You know, what are you going to do, raise some bastard child?
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I understand.
Well, that's all I had to say, Tom.
All right, Sam, thank you for that. Wow. Eddie on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Eddie.
Yeah, my comments on the topic there, along the same lines, I'd have to leave her because that's damaged goods at that point.
I see. So how long would you wait to leave? Would you leave immediately, or would you stay for a week or a month? How long?
As immediately as possible, I would say, you know.
Well, the same day, the next day, what? How fast?
As quickly as humanly possible.
So, like, the minute she told you this, you'd be packing your things?
Pretty much.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, gotta go.
Oh.
I mean, the reason being, you know, I use protection all the time, and if someone's going to rape somebody 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, they're not putting anything on, so who knows what they could be passing along to the girl, and then you get that passed right along to you. So,
and what if she got tested and everything tested out okay? What about then?
You can be tested. Well, I don't know. I'm not a doctor or anything, but you can carry around certain things and never know you have it. So it's really risky, I would think. I would just say.
Of course, she could have had sex with any number of guys without a condom. Consensual sex.
Well, that's true, too, but this is just kind of it just puts weird images in your head, you know. It's like the other guy was saying, it's kind of dirty. It's not clean, not holy.
Thank you, Eddie.
Could you take me out with a bong hit?
Here it comes, Eddie. Melissa, you're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Melissa.
How you doing?
Great.
Good. I like the topic. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I was raped in high school by my boyfriend at the time, and I happened to have a friend that was a guy. In high school, you have those.
By the way, had you ever had sex with this guy?
I had never had sex, period. It was the first time.
So he decided to just jump right in?
He decided to be awesome, yep. And actually, I must be that 1% because he did use a condom, but decided to put it on inside out for traction for him. So, don't know if I can say that, but anyway,
sure.
There you go. And my friend at the time, who was a guy, kind of stood by me, hung out with me, tried to become my boyfriend, wanted to go out, wanted to be with me. I kept saying no. And then we went on a date. He had to wait a long time for sex. I've been married to him for 7.5 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
But I'll tell you, you know, he had to endure a lot. I went through a lot. I went through hypnosis. I found out at that point that I had been molested as a child, which I didn't know about. And I went through years and years of therapy. And, you know, it's really shaped the person that I am now. I'll tell you, I am extremely kinky now in the bedroom. It's not a problem, but it was a huge problem. And he had to go through an awful lot. And, you know, he is a wonderful guy, and I'm really blessed to have him.
Of course, it's different when you're trying to get someone than from when you already have them.
That's true. Well, he didn't have me. He was trying to get me.
That's my point. That's why, yeah, would he have been so patient if he was the boyfriend at the time of the action?
This guy probably would have, but another guy might not have been.
Yeah.
And look where it got him. I mean, you know, a successful marriage, 3 children, you know, great lives together. This turned out to be an ideal situation for us, not necessarily because of the rape, but, you know, I think that I'm a stronger person for having gone through the therapy and the years and years of analysis of this, you know, and dealing with all of the junk that you have to deal with once this happens. And it's really made me a better person. And I'm not saying, yeah, I'm glad I was raped. I mean, please understand that. But, you know, it's a good thing that he stuck around because I am really a put-together lady at this point. What
happened to the guy who raped you?
Well, at the time, there is a loophole in the law, or so I was told at the time, and this was in 1989, and I was 16 and he was 15. So he was a year younger than me, and because he was younger than me and we were both minors, there was nothing that the DA could do. So my mom took me to the police station. We reported it, and, you know, when you're a kid and you're nervous about things, you tend to laugh, you know, because that's how you deal with it, and they didn't believe me. So they said, well, are you sure? And I said, you know what, you know, F this, and I ran out, sat on the grass, was hysterically crying. I mean, I tried to kill myself twice during this whole thing at that point in my life, and the police went after him, brought him in. They said to him, so what do you think you're in here for? He said, well, I've been cut in class. And they said, oh, okay, well, anything else? Well, I've been having some fights, yeah. I've been drinking underage, yeah. Well, I've been getting into some gang activity. Okay, great. No, actually, none of those have anything to do with it. Do you know somebody named Melissa? And he said, yeah. Well, is it possible that you raped her? And he said, yeah, I guess it was. And he admitted it right there to the police. But that still didn't matter. There was some kind of a loophole in the law where the DA could not prosecute. But they could put it in his police record so that if it should happen again when he was older, I don't know what the situation was at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing story, Melissa. Thank you for telling it.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Michelle on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great, Michelle.
Anyways, I'm like Melissa. I was raped, although mine was this last summer. And my boyfriend is still standing by me. He's extremely supportive, and he has been, and I think I'm really lucky because I don't think a lot of guys would.
Wow, that's, you think you're probably right about that. Did it cause problems in your relationship?
Not really. You know, I mean, I don't want to think so.
You don't want to think so, but...
Well, of course, I mean, there's going to be some tension, you know, in the bedroom at first, and of course there was, but really overall, he always been was supportive, and I don't know, I'm just so happy.
Well, you're a very lucky woman, Michelle.
He is, and, you know, and I was beat up really badly, too, and so God, I don't know, I'm just so nervous talking about it.
Oh, Michelle, it's okay. You're a very lucky woman. Congratulations on having a guy who stayed with you.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
Like us on Hot Talk 1080.
This is the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Charles on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Okay.
Good. Here's my problem. I listen to these callers, and it appalls me to hear people talk about they're going to leave their spouse or their girlfriend or whatever the situation may be because they've been raped. Rape is a horrible thing that happens to a woman. Where's love? They've gone through a dramatic situation, and you have to be patient. You have to deal with them. You have to help them through the situation.
Well, wait. Let's stop right there. You say you have to do it.
Well,
it's a good thing to do. It's a human thing to do. It's a nice thing to do, but you don't have to do it.
But why would you walk away with someone who's been through such a dramatic situation when that is when they need your support? That is when they need the most comfort from you. Because they've been raped and violated by someone else. Okay, that's true. But, again, where's love?
Hang on a second, Charles.
Okay.
Gary, what do you want to say to Charles here?
Oh, Charles, buddy, let me tell you what happens when you do that. I experienced this firsthand, and I was the perfect guy. I mean, I was there for her. I even pushed up our wedding to get her onto insurance so she can get medication, she can get treatment. And what happened? I stuck in there. You know, it just dragged me. She dragged me down with her, even though I was getting better. She ended up getting worse. She dragged me down with it. She got split personality over it. I lost my job. She sent me to jail over something that that her mom just wanted to do to get her out of there. She went nuts on me and tore me apart. I lost my job. I lost, friends. I went through 2 years of just total, being in a shell because of this girl. She dragged me down.
Are you telling me that she didn't have a mental problem before this, or was this something that just happened because of the situation? Because it doesn't sound like it's something that's going to happen.
Because not every girl's going to handle this perfectly. And if you sit there and try to absorb it, being the perfect guy, she's going to walk all over. She's going to use, like she did to me, she's going to use you for everything that you got, all your support, and then just fight you.
So your suggestion is the moment you hear about this, you flee. Is that your suggestion? Is that what you're saying that you should do?
I'm saying use common sense, because now as soon as this girl starts going downhill and she's not coming back up, I'm saying you have to split.
Okay, I understand that could be the situation that may happen.
But what is the possible?
And I understand, and that may be the truth. That I won't doubt that for a moment. But you have to keep in mind, if you truly love this person, don't you want to work it out to help her through this trying situation that takes place?
Oh, I did everything. You need an idea. I'm not. Then the girls.
I'm not negating your situation that took place. I'm sure that it's something that's valid. But
it sounds nice on paper to be.
But you can't do a blanket statement and say you got to leave them because they had the situation.
Well, you can't use a blanket statement and say, "Oh, just stay with them," because that.
I can, because let me tell you why I can. Because you know what? Against Tom rules, I've gotten married when I was 19. I've been married for 23 years, happily married, love my wife, never had a problem. Issues that come up, of course, but I could not see. There was a situation I tried to call in earlier when they talked about if your wife had a problem with a boob job or something, or something took place, a mastectomy or something, would you leave them? How could you leave your wife that you've devoted to, that you love, just because of something that takes place? I mean, I'd hate for something to happen to me and disfigure me in any way. And my wife would say, "I got to go." How devastating!
How do you know that wouldn't happen?
You know what? For my wife, I know it wouldn't happen because that's how much I know her.
Hang on
and
a second.
And for me,
hang on a second, Dwayne.
You have another person that calls.
Oh yeah, Dwayne. What do you want to say to Charles here?
What do you got, Dwayne?
Hey, guess what, man? It goes against biology. You know, this happens every time she goes out, dresses provocatively. You know what? You're going to have to worry. It's going to be on your mind. You're going to be upset. There's no way you can deal with it.
Don't let her dress provocatively. Make sure that she dresses
No, I dress provocatively. Now you're controlling her. You can't control somebody. Listen,
that's true.
She's going to do what she's going to do, okay?
That's true. I agree.
Unfortunate things happen all the time. Look at Iraq, okay? You can't deal with it. You got to just let it go. You got to leave and cut your losses. And you know what, Tom? I got another point for you. You know what? I've been with a couple girls, seriously, and just think about this. They told me if they got raped, they would have the baby. What's that about?
Kid, you know what? I'll be honest with you. And you're speaking about that point. I personally don't believe in abortions. And unfortunately, if that horrible situation were to happen to my wife, where she is, and my wife dressed decently. She doesn't dress provocatively. She dresses very decently. If she happened to someone who she's walking from work or whatever the situation may be, and someone rapes her and she has conceived a child, you know what? I'm going to have to raise it, unfortunately.
No. What is wrong with you, man?
You know what? I'm going to walk away and leave her because of this situation. You don't know what's going on.
Come on.
No, I do.
Get off the phone. Get off the phone. You don't belong here. Listen to Tom's rules.
No.
You know what? He's the man.
You know what? You're right. You know what? Let me tell you. I occasionally listen to Tom, and a lot of times I turn off when he does his 101 or 102, whatever he does on Thursday.
Raise someone else.
But you know what?
There's a lot of men out there who are raising lots of other people's kids.
But you know what? You need to hear.
No, I think it's important.
No, I think it's important that you hear both sides to the story. Sometimes you don't need to hear all of it. Sometimes that's why Tom has these callers, so that people can call in and give their viewpoint.
It's an open forum. I get your point, but the fact you're missing the point here, man. It's going to drive you nuts. It's unfortunate. It happens, but you know what? It will haunt you the rest of your life. Okay? You can't do it.
You know what? That's what you say.
Okay. Yeah, that is what I say.
But that doesn't make it the rule. And it depends on the person. It depends on your morals.
Like
it depends
Tom
on what you believe in. Bottom line.
Yeah, you're right.
Am I right, Tom? Speak up, Tom.
Well, I have never been in such a terrible situation, but
neither have
I, fortunately. Well, if I ever did, I know what I'd have to do.
I know what kind of stress this can cause because I know people who've been through this.
Right, but
absolutely.
And I'm not so sure. I'm not. Well, put it this way. I don't know. I'm telling you honestly, I'm not sure how I would handle if the person I knew no longer existed and was replaced by an angry, scared,
absolutely,
sexually frigid person who didn't want to take her clothes off or was afraid of the dark or couldn't sleep.
Or hates men. They get an attitude
like that. I don't know how I would handle that.
They may change. But, Tom, are you telling me you're going to walk away because they've changed, or are you going to deal with the situation and try to work through it?
I do have to, one thing I have learned in my life, and I've been married 4 times.
I know. I've heard it. I know.
You have to also look out for yourself.
You got to look out for yourself first, then everyone else, because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else will. That's the truth. All right? Enough said. Nothing more to be said about that.
All right, Charles, Dwayne, thank you.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis, only on Hot Talk 1080.
The Tom Leykis Show, 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Nick on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, how's it going there, bud?
I'm pretty good, Nick.
I'm going to tell you what there, Tom. I mean, I can agree to a certain extent with what that guy is saying, but I was in a relationship myself that lasted 18 months. And the first year was great, and she was coming out of a club, and it happened to her. They never caught the guy. Well, for the next 8 months, I did try to stay, but I got forced to leave. There was no touching her no more, no more caressing her, didn't want to be loved on, didn't want to be this. I mean, her life didn't go downhill. She didn't stop work because of it. I mean, she still maintained and things like that, but as far as the intimacy went, that was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm starting out, she was paralyzed from the waist down or something to that effect, maybe. You can stay for love, but just because you had sex, how many guys you had sex with before you got raped,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to shut me out like that, and then if you go outside the relationship and get something somewhere else, then you're 10 times the snake you were when you started.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lose-lose situation.
Yep. So you just cut your losses.
Right. But, I mean, I can agree with what that guy is saying, but I think the end result's still going to be the same, whether it's 8 months, a year, or 2 months, for that matter. I don't think the situation will ever get better.
I understand, Nick. I thank you, Rachel, on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, my mother was raped, and I'm her child from it. So.
Who was the father?
I don't know.
Does she know?
She knows, but I don't.
It's someone she knows?
She didn't know him. It was just basically she was walking and she got raped.
What was that like for you?
For me to find out.
How old were you when you found out?
I always knew, kind of always knew that I didn't have a father,
Yeah, but did you always know why you didn't have a father?
I didn't always know why, but...
When did you find out?
I don't know. I guess I was maybe 8 or 9.
How did you find out?
There was a newspaper clipping in one of her safe boxes, and I was kind of rummaging through it, and I saw it.
Wow.
It was in the newspaper.
Was her name in the article?
Her name wasn't in the article, but I kind of put 2 and 2 together.
And so you asked her about it?
Yeah.
And she said, yes, that's what happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she kind of had a hard time with, looking at me and seeing the guy who raped her, but she was fine with it.
And how did you handle that when you found that out?
When I found it out, I mean, I didn't really understand it. I didn't really know what rape was at the time. But later on, I just figured, apparently I'm supposed to be here. If she kept me, I mean, she took the morning after pill also.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently I'm supposed to be here.
Didn't work.
No, it did not work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm supposed to be here.
And did your family treat you any differently as a result of that? Did other people treat you differently?
No, nothing. I wasn't treated any more special than my cousins. I was just...
Oh, and not less special either?
No, I was treated the same way. My grandfather was basically my father. So, I was his little
baby girl.
So your mom never got married?
No, she had boyfriends on and off. So, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And today, how does it affect you today?
Today, it doesn't affect me too much. I mean, I want to see him. I want to...
You want to see him?
I just want to see his face. That's all I want to see.
Do you know his name?
Yes, I do.
Do you know where he is?
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what prison he's in, but all I want to do is see his face, just to see where I get, you know, my facial features from, because I look nothing like my mother.
Wow. So are you trying to see him?
I tried when I was like 13, but I decided not to. I decided I was not ready. But now I think I am. But it's really hard to get in there to see them because he has to know about me to put me on, you know, a visitor's list or something. And
so you'd have to write to him and hope he responded to you.
Right.
And that would assume he wants to even meet you.
Right. Right. I don't want to write to him. I don't want to know. I don't even want him to know that I am alive.
Well, it sounds to me like then. Well, how's he going to let you into the prison if you can't tell him you're alive?
Yeah. Well, I had gotten a priest to come over, and we sat down and talked about it. And the priest can get me in if I want to get in.
So what are you waiting for?
I don't know. I'm waiting to get the nerve to actually go in there and look at him. I can go to a parole hearing if I want, but it's just the nerve to get up and go. And I don't want to really hurt my mom's feelings by going.
Do you really want to talk to him?
I don't want to talk to him, no. I just want to see his face.
Would a photograph be enough if someone could get you one?
Yeah.
It would?
A picture would be perfect. I mean, that would be fine. I just want to see, like, maybe if, you know, if I get my eyes from him, if I get my hair from him. Because me and my mom are total opposites when it comes to the way we look. But...
Did you ever lose any sleep over this, or cry about it, or freak out about it?
I mean, like, if I sat down and really thought about it, then I'd say, you know, nobody ever really wanted me, and then I would look back and be like, well, no, people did want me, you know, that's why I'm here. I mean, people loved me, people cared for me, they never held it against me. So, I mean, my life hasn't been easy, but it hasn't been hard either. Because of it.
And Dean tells me you're married?
I'm married for 2 years now.
How does your husband feel about this?
He doesn't care. I mean,
hasn't affected your marriage at all?
No, it hasn't. I mean, you know, we love each other. And, you know, if he said, I've asked him before, if I was to get raped and to get pregnant, would he leave me? And he said no. You know, he would stay with me. He would love me. I mean, as long as I didn't go crazy on him, you know? And I don't think I would. I mean, it's a tragic thing for something to happen, but if my mom was strong enough to go through with it, then I am.
Rachel, thank you very much for the call.
Tom. 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom.
Hey, do you want to hear a spanking?
Yeah, of course I do.
All right. How'd you like that?
That was pretty good.
My ass is red.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Leykis on Hot Talk 1080
The Tom Leykis Show. Robert, hello.
How you doing?
All right.
Tom?
I'm pretty good.
Oh, good. Good to hear. Hey, I got some issues with this topic you got going on. You know, it's a sad situation when women get raped, and I agree with that. However, I was married. I got married at the dumb young age of 18, and my wife then got raped about a year after we were married. So I stuck it out a little bit and thought I could, thought we could pull through, and we pretty much did. Worked out eventually after all the psychological stuff, I guess, wore off. I'm not sure if they were really there to begin with. Went through 9 more years of marriage, and 10th year we got divorced. Well, a couple months later, I went to go pick my kids up from her, and the person who greeted me at the door was the alleged raper.
So do you think she was actually raped, or was that a story she told you?
That's a BS story.
Of course.
Complete BS.
Of course.
If a woman is raped,
raped
don't press charges.
Yeah.
I don't believe that they were raped. You can't do it to the willing.
there are people who won't file charges because they know what kind of cross-examination they're going to face and all that. They know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then there are some who are having an affair and want to use that lie to get away with it.
I think if they don't do anything about it and they're with somebody else hoping that they're going to, come up to bat for them, I would have to look into the story a little bit more myself, only because of my experience.
I understand. Ricky, I got 30 seconds here, Ricky. Ricky. All right, let me get Angela. I got 20 seconds.
Okay, I used my rape situation to get guys. I was raped about 2 months ago. I was just forced to do sexual acts for 2.5 hours, and, well, I tell guys about the rape, and they automatically want to just screw me. It's great.
It's great. So you were having a hard time getting guys?
I was having trouble getting guys. I felt sorry for one guy because his mom had cancer. I went over, comforted him. Him and his friend got me choked up on some weed, and, well, for 2.5